What's up, you guys? It's Ron here with the latest news on your $2,000 fourth stimulus check update and recurring stimulus check update. California has also revealed their new $5.2 billion stimulus proposal. This is said to help low-income tenants. And how many other states are going to be doing the exact same thing that California is doing? In addition to these, we also have very important news from the White House that senators involved in the bipartisan negotiations have now agreed to an infrastructure framework. We're going to look into these and discuss all of them in our video today, so definitely stick around. But first, I just want to say welcome back to all my subscribers. I really appreciate you guys. I hope you guys are having a great weekend. And for those who are brand new to the channel, my name's Ron. We cover all things personal finance, cryptocurrencies, stock market updates, Social Security, $200 boost updates. So if you haven't already, be sure to hit the subscribe button and tap that notification bell. That way you're the first to know as soon as I release new videos and content. And as always, let's go ahead and jump right into this. So straight away, we have one of the largest stimulus programs being proposed by the state of California right now. Now, this comes from the $350 billion that was distributed to all states and cities by the federal government. Remember the last stimulus package? Right. Now, even if you don't live in California, you should like this news since your state could be next. This is exactly what we saw in previous rounds. It starts off with one state and then multiple other states start rolling it out. So let's go ahead and read this. California has a plan to pay the back rent of low-income tenants. All of it. The state is poised to embark on an ambitious, complex effort to cover the unpaid rent of low-income renters who struggled during the pandemic. And the article begins by saying, swimming in cash from an unexpected budget surplus and federal stimulus money, California is planning rent forgiveness on a scale never seen before in the United States. A $5.2 billion program is in final negotiations as the state legislature would pay 100% of unpaid rent that lower income Californians incurred during the pandemic and would be financed entirely by federal money. The state is also proposing to set aside $2 billion to pay for unpaid water and electricity bills. When California became the first state to shut down its economy last year, Governor Gavin Newsom predicted dire shortfalls in the state's budget. But a year later, the state finds itself with so much money that it is poised to not only cover 100% of unpaid rent for low-income tenants, but also to give an additional $12 billion back to taxpayers. And they're doing this by sending state stimulus checks of at least $600 to millions of middle-class Californians. The state's separate rental relief program would be available to residents who earn no more than 80% of the median income in their area and who can show pandemic-related financial hardship in San Francisco and who can show pandemic-related financial hardship. In San Francisco, a family of four would have to earn less than $146,350 per year to qualify. With that kind of threshold, I'm pretty sure most people are going to qualify for that. Now, this is a massive project by the state with an enormous $5.2 billion budget. And many families in California will definitely benefit from this. Now, I've heard from different people in different states that they've actually benefited from programs exactly like this, receiving $5,000, $8,000, $10,000, and some even more for rental assistance or mortgage assistance. How much did you receive from your state? Drop me a comment down below. I'd love to hear from you guys. This particular proposal is actually bigger than the $3.5 billion New York assistance program that was announced by Governor Cuomo just a few weeks ago. This particular program will give out $2.7 billion in rental assistance for eligible households, while businesses will receive $800 billion in a small business recovery grant program. Now, if you're in the state of New York, you should go ahead and apply for this program now since I believe it is available and ongoing. These programs will literally pay your rent for the year. So if your rent's $1,000 a month, you can get $12,000 or even more. And if you thought that the $1,400 stimulus check was great, then you'll definitely be even happier with the rent assistance program where you receive even more money than the stimulus check. All states, counties, and cities received a huge budget for all sorts of programs like this, so you can expect that you'll also get some kind of benefit from these programs wherever you live. Remember, many of these states and cities took several months to think up and make proposals to give out the money, and some states are still on that stage and working through that right now. And on top of that, these states actually just recently got their money in the past few weeks. We should expect the progress will be slow, unfortunately. You know how the slow government works, but whenever I can, I will inform you guys about the different programs that are available to you guys and what you can get ASAP. You don't normally hear news about these topics in depth on mainstream media and the news, so you can definitely expect me to research that information and share it with you, my community. And lastly, here's the breaking news of the infrastructure package. Senators say that White House aides agree to an infrastructure framework. Now, according to this article by The Hill, senators involved in the bipartisan negotiations say that they and White House officials have agreed to an infrastructure framework and that they'll meet with President Biden Thursday to brief him. Republicans and Democrats have come together along with the White House and they've agreed on a framework, and we're going to be heading to the White House tomorrow. This is what Senator Mitt Romney told reporters right after the meeting on Wednesday. Everyone's favorite, Senator Joe Manchin, another member of the group, he confirmed the White House officials in the meeting signed off on the framework and that they came to an agreement. They said it sounded good. We said we're all on the same page. Now, this is Manchin adding these additional details about the White House reaction after the meeting. The plan, according to the senators, consists largely of details the bipartisan group has released in the recent weeks as the senators try to gain momentum for their proposal. It includes roughly the same amount of new spending, $579 billion, for a total of $974 billion spending money over the next 5 years, or $1.2 trillion over 8 years. Basically, they're negotiating a deal with the White House, and the president will meet with them tomorrow to reach a decision. The budget stated for this will be $1.2 trillion for the next 8 years. Among the $1.2 trillion, around $600 billion will be from the old stimulus money used on the previous stimulus packages. Now, if you guys remember, I mentioned in my past videos, there was about $2 trillion of unused money from previous stimulus packages. Now, from this $2 trillion, $350 billion will be going to states and cities, leaving us with around less than $1.7 trillion. Their plans are now to take about $600 billion for their infrastructure proposal, which will leave about $1.1 trillion. This money will be available to use, and it has already been approved by Congress already. On top of that, Democrats want to use the remaining money for the following stimulus packages, which will include programs for Social Security raises, Medicare benefits, possibly monthly recurring stimulus checks, and more. And here's something very interesting. The previous stimulus checks of $1,400, they cost about $400 billion. And with the remaining $1.1 trillion, they could easily do around 2 or 3 stimulus checks of $1,400 each for the people. This might be a little bit of a reach, but it definitely could happen. Who knows? Now again, back to the article. The agreement is effectively tentative until and if President Biden signs off. Senators noted that they still also need to draft the legislation and iron out final details. There are always details. We haven't written this down yet. Now, this came from Mitt Romney. Collins also added that there is still a lot of details to be worked out. Now, of course, the devil, as they say, is always in the details, so let's just hope that the details don't end up stalling things, right? White House senior staff had 2 productive meetings today with the bipartisan group of senators who have been negotiating about infrastructure. The group made progress towards an outline of a potential agreement, and the president has invited the group to come to the White House tomorrow to discuss this in person. Now, this came directly from White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki in a statement, but it's still a boost for the likelihood that President Biden is able to get his biggest legislative priority through Congress and a significant breakthrough for the chances of a bipartisan infrastructure package. So this deal is definitely good news. And it's great to see Republicans and Democrats agreeing and working together on a large stimulus package like this. I mean, just remember, previous stimulus package, the Republicans and Democrats did not work together at all. In fact, not a single Republican voted for the stimulus package, for the third stimulus package, which ended up releasing $1,400 third stimulus checks for the American people. The Democrats were left with having to go the reconciliation route and pass that bill independently on their own. Luckily, all of the Democrats at the time were all on the same page, including your boy Joe Manchin. So hopefully moving forward, we can actually get some bipartisanship, a little bit of cohesiveness between both the Democrats and the Republicans, and actually get the bill passed faster, a little bit sooner, and without so much one-sidedness, right? But I generally think that this will help things move faster and get to the next stimulus package, which would absolutely help out the Americans in need. However, it is interesting to note that they did not mention if there's going to be any tax raises for this physical infrastructure package. Now, of course, this is a huge deal. Not a single Republican is on board with raising taxes, so I don't know if this is part of the details that need to be discussed and kind of worked out, but that information has yet to be revealed. Now, if you did not know, President Biden is calling for tax increases for the wealthy 1% and for corporations, but Republicans, as I said, are against that. Instead, Republicans prefer to use tax where, for example, if you use the roads, they want to propose a gasoline tax. Now, what do you guys think? Should you simply tax the wealthy, top 1% of income earners and the wealthiest people in the United States, or should you tax the people who are benefiting from the item or the infrastructure being used? For example, a gas tax. I'd love to hear from you guys. Tax the wealthy or tax the people who use the item? Now, President Biden, he doesn't want this since it will increase the burden on the everyday person. And he's trying to stick to his word that, he won't raise taxes for people with income below $400,000. Now, I gotta respect anyone who says something and actually tries to stick to their word. Now, I certainly hope that he applies the same metric because President Biden is the same person who campaigned on the notion of raising the benefits for Social Security recipients. $200 per month Social Security raises and boosts. Anybody remember that? Yeah, let's hope he doesn't forget. But again, these packages don't actually need to be paid for, just like the previous ones. There were no tax raises, no use taxes or anything. The expenses will all just go into the national debt. Now, of course, let's not just pretend like there's not going to be any kind of negative repercussions as a result of doing that, but that is what they did in the previous stimulus packages. Now, if and once this infrastructure package is passed, we would then move on to the next stimulus package with the great provisions that they are already proposing, such as the fourth stimulus checks, monthly recurring stimulus checks, Social Security increases, Medicare benefits, and of course the expansion of the child tax credits to reach more American kids, about 65 million children. And let's not forget the fact that many Democrats are actually pushing to extend the child tax credits out until 2025. So while many are going to be receiving anywhere between $250 and $300 per month monthly payments for those who have children, right now it's just set for 1 year. However, they're looking to push this out to 2025. Now, what I wish that they would do is actually look out for those who don't have children. Not everyone has children, so it's like you're leaving out a big segment of the population who needs financial assistance who don't have kids. Drop me a comment down below if you feel left out because you don't have kids and they're passing all sorts of child tax credits and stimulus checks for those who have children, but you don't have children. So it's like, well, what's available for you, right? Drop me a comment down below. I would love to know how many of my audience members are falling into that segment of the population. So anyway, guys, that's all for the news on your fourth stimulus check update, recurring stimulus check update, California's new proposed $5.2 billion stimulus program, and the new agreement by the White House on an infrastructure framework. Things are looking good for all programs right now, and we might also see the infrastructure package approved very, very soon. So what do you guys think about all this? Drop me a comment down below. I love hearing from you guys, and I hope that you guys appreciated all of the information that I shared with you today. And if you haven't already, do like this video, definitely subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so that you are the first to know as soon as I release new videos and content. And if you haven't already, definitely check out my latest update on the SSI raise boost update. It's one of my previous videos. Be sure to check that one out, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Take care and be safe.